Hello, what's going on, friends, and welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily. That's right. Every single day. Series here on the channel where I talk about what's been said about the Blues, giving you my thoughts, feelings, and opinions about it. But as always, more importantly, asking for yours. Today, we're reflecting on an article on the Daily Mail by Kieran Gill, talking about Chelsea's rotation. Alejandro Garnacho liking posts by Fabrizio Romano. The Man United fans are not happy with how he is #twerking for Chelsea. Romano saying about how his total priority is Chelsea. Yeah. And Unai Emery, former coach of Nico Jackson at Villarreal, wants him to come to Aston Villa, and looks like he'll flog Ollie Watkins to achieve said signing. Well, it's going to be a good video, hey? You and me together. So strap yourselves in, as always, get comfortable. Take a deep breath, and like and ruddy subscribe, mate. Namaste. And hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Yeah, right. So I'm going to read a little bit off of the Daily Mail first. Kieran Gill writes, because this is a talk about where are Chelsea? What are we doing? How do we look going into next season? Well, James, Josh, and Mallow may sound like London solicitors firm, but in reality, they're Chelsea's hat-tricks of right-back options from last season. Who started? Who knew? True, could have been anyone. Even Caicedo at some point, right, guys? Could Reece James, Champong, Gusto, manager Maresca, even played a pair of centre-backs there in Fofana and Disasi. He's forgetting Caicedo. Caicedo played a few games there to join Lavia and Fernandes in the midfield. Until Chelsea submitted their team sheet to the Premier League 75 minutes prior to kickoff, we were all playing the guessing game. Yeah, it was like Pep Roulette of Man City, do you remember? It was a different side of Maresca's defence, however. There was a lonely story involving Marco Cucurella, who played a million minutes. Might be a slight exaggeration, but he played a lot. There was there was more than any of his teammates, and he managed 3,000 of those minutes in the league. Pretty much as James, Champong, and Gusto combined. But of course, now we've signed Uriel Hato for a deal worth £37 million. Not overly expensive, not insignificant, a significant fee, £37 million. And he was identified for his potential first and foremost, but of course we know him as a really good performer. Chelsea made 419 changes to their starting lineup under Maresca last season. More than any club in Europe's top leagues, in any of Europe's top leagues. More than any club. That is extraordinary, actually. Hato is set to further complicate those briefings between the analysts and managers. He may take time to adapt. Cole Palmer was primarily, of course, used as a number 10, but he's also played on the wings as well. A Stamford Bridge insider described Maresca as, quote, a master of rotation, adding the 45-year-old Italian does not have a best 11, and nor does he desire one. That's really what I wanted to talk about here. He wants the best squad. He picks the teams based on the tactical plan, the opposition, the training, and the playing load. I mean, that is great. And times are changing. A lot of people liked the bulletproof starting 11, that you knew you were going to get. And to be honest, even in the current climate of modern day top tier football, there is an absolute elite example of that. And of course, that is Paris Saint-Germain, the team that we slapped up 3-0 in a final to become world champions for the next 4 years. Had to be said. But yeah, they literally, the only change that PSG would make is he going to start Bradley Barcola or Désiré Doué up front? And that was it. And they all play a sort of similar rotational role. So there is a demonstration how continuity can help at the highest level right now. But Maresca, and this is what kind of blows my mind and why I wanted to talk about it, because when Maresca was appointed, as Chelsea coach. The concern was, he's this dogmatic, stubborn, not pragmatist, but like, dogmatic, stubborn, philosophical coach that's always going to play the same way. And I guess the same way made you think same players, but, excuse me, just eating breakfast. But no, dude, it's the opposite. He's playing same formation, but it moves differently, it behaves differently, but the personnel is radically different. And I must say, it's very ambitious to be like, well, I don't want a good 11, I want a good 18. And not just that, these 18, a good deal of them, a big handful of them can play in different positions. So the opposition just can't plan for us. It's kind of risky. You kind of like thought, it would be an easier life to be as good as PSG with a starting 11, or, when Guardiola, prime Man City Guardiola, when you knew what was coming and they were just going to slap you with the unbeatable football that they always play. But Maresca's obviously looked at this and think, my best way is I want a real good selection of players here, and we're going to tailor it. And my edge, the way I get an advantage is we're going to tailor a lineup every single game for the opposition's weakness. In theory, it's great. It does come with risk because it feels like, how are you going to have continuity of on-pitch chemistry, relationships, and understandings? But if you just really know the system that you're going to play, then you trust the system rather than your team on the pitch teammates. I don't know. I mean, it sounds great in theory. It's hella ambitious and risky, but as is the Chelsea project of late, holistically. Fun, though. All right. So a little bit more on Alejandro Garnacho, the player that nobody wants. Although actually, slowly, people are coming around a little bit more, considering the price has dropped radically and that we've generally completed our attack otherwise. There's a little bit more understanding. Some of you guys on my social media, at Football Yannick on the gram, have been saying, yeah, man, he's got a high ceiling, he'll do better at Chelsea. Romano says, Alejandro Garnacho has given total priority to Chelsea and talks took place on the player side. So Chelsea have already said, do you want to come in and party, Alejandro? And he's gone, yes, please, muy buen. And, yeah. And, of course, Romano tweeted Chelsea's plans to move for both Garnacho and Xavi Simons, separate topics, liked by Garnacho on Instagram. Confirmed. Pretty funny, isn't it? I mean, in a way, this is the kind of shit we're worried about, isn't it? Because it's funny when it's like happening elsewhere. You look at your rivals and you go, he wants to leave you, lol, funny jokes. And then when it's like, he wants to come to us. But this isn't like the best way to be behaving, is it? I mean, like, this is, you do this now, it's funny, but as soon as you've signed that contract, immediately grow up and never do any of this again. It seems a bit like, ugh. Anyway, look, I am worried about the character, especially because of stuff like that. It's just so needless, isn't it? As funny as it is, it's so needless. Yeah, as long as look, Chelsea is going well. As long as if he does join, as long as he just doesn't screw things up, then I'm down. 30 million, even 30 plus 10 for a player with a high ceiling to be a rotational left side option with Gittins and Xavi Simons, auxiliary. Joao Pedro could do a job there. We've seen Cole Palmer play quite well actually on the left wing. Just, you have to work your way, be a good citizen, train well to get a sniff of some minutes, mate. And maybe becomes really good, and then we can all have great fun laughing at Man United. Right? Okay, let's talk about Nico Jackson. The Mirror, a chap called John Richardson, has published an article. Unai Emery prepared to axe. It's all so dramatic, isn't it? Ollie Watkins, 29-year-old Ollie Watkins, to secure Aston Villa reunion with Chelsea star. I feel quite bad for Ollie Watkins because he's been so good these last couple of years. He's still not 30 yet. And he was obviously benched for Rashford in a few high-profile games when Rashford came in on loan, and he was very vocal about not being happy about that. Of course, there was the John Duran stuff. Man United would probably like Ollie Watkins, and then more than they would Nico Jackson, which is silly, I think. I think if you are a club trying to build for the future, you take Jackson over Watkins, which feels like a bold claim, but, you know, Jackson, by the time he's 25, 26, could be really good and already scored a lot of Prem goals. That's just what I think. So let's have a little read, shall we? Villa boss Unai Emery wants to be reunited with Chelsea striker Nico Jackson, and he's prepared to sell star man Ollie Watkins to do it. I'd argue the star man is Morgan Rogers. Emery helped nurture Jackson's career at Villarreal before he left for Villa 9 months before Chelsea made his successful bid for Nico Jackson. Now Emery is ready to test Chelsea's resolve over the Senegal international, who is also on the wanted list of the aforementioned Manchester United and Newcastle United, who themselves are actually they're both going in for Benjamin Sesko at the moment, which, by the way, I've been covering on the second channel. Let's plug it now. Football Yannick, where I also upload daily non-Chelsea stories. So hop on over there to Football Yannick. I'm on the road to 20,000 subs, which I'm very pleased about. I just spat everywhere. So please go and show your sweet love and support on that channel. So yeah, they're both fighting over Benjamin Sesko. Chelsea have been holding out. It's still funny to read, isn't it? For £80 million for Nicholas Jackson. £80 million? What's that over? That's like, what's 90 million? Over 90 million euros? He's good. He's got a high ceiling, but my giddy aunt. I still think if you wave 65 million quid under Chelsea's nose, I'll go, okay. But, yeah, that might just be the public briefing. By the way, I don't think Chelsea are trying to sell Jackson. I think their financial plan on the board, in the whiteboard, wherever this whiteboard is in a room somewhere at Cobham, like a few months ago, was building, let's, bring in Delap, see if we can get Gerard Pedro. We're good to go. We're going to have to sell these players. Jackson will be fighting. Maybe there'll be some game states where, Gerard Pedro plays with either Jackson or Delap in a certain... Do you know what I mean? There was probably always, Jackson was, fluttering in and out of the untouchable list, but then sort of fell out of the untouchable list at the end of last season. But still doesn't mean they're not planning with him. So genuinely, they won't be like, we didn't make the 80 million quid. I think they'll be like, fine, let's go. Let's continue with Nico. But it does feel like, because the market is so ripe, it's so fertile for people trying to buy strikers, they're probably having conversations like, you know what? We're in a pretty darn strong position here. That would mean Villa having to cash in on the England striker Watkins, who's already on the radar of them. Okay, sorry, them two, United and Newcastle. Watkins is 29, is believed to want a fresh challenge. And has been unsettled by the constant talk throughout the summer. Transfer talk, that is. In addition to Jackson, Emery's been looking at other targets, including Leipzig Belgian striker Openda, who would come cheaper than the Chelsea star. The German club won around 40 million quid. Well, it's half the price. I still don't think Chelsea would actually demand £80 million when push comes to shove. But Jackson is Emery's first choice and is hoping they reduce the asking price, which I think they probably will, with Chelsea having bought both Liam Delap and Joao Pedro. Wow. And about to snap up, of course, Leipzig's Xavi Simons as well. We're still waiting for that deal to get over the line. Jackson has received criticism over his goal-scoring return since Chelsea's signing. To be honest, despite scoring 17 times in his first season and 13 times last campaign, you're 30 goals across two competitions, across 2 seasons, with a lot of assists. And also, he's not like a 18-yard box hanger, just hangs down the box waiting for chances. Probably offside. But do you know what I mean? He's not just a Haaland who does occupy defenders, but Jackson does everything. He runs all over the gaff. He runs the channels wide. He links up. He makes the attack better. He deserves his flowers, Nicholas Jackson. For all his flaws, he has a few. Some he'll lose and develop. He'll probably always have a few throughout his career, but that doesn't stop him from being incredibly effective, productive, and a desired profile. He deserves recognition for that. This is great, by the way. This is an amazing quote from Nicholas Jackson. Competition, he says. I have no competition, he told Dear Sports. We are all here to help the club. Everyone has their role to play. I'm on a mission. It's up to the coach to make his choices. I focus solely on my work. I am a Chelsea player. The future belongs to God. If there are any changes, you'll know. For now, I'm focused on my preparation. It's football. There's ups and downs. Last season, we won 2 trophies. There were difficult moments and then moments of glory. Every season is like that. But the most important thing is to stay focused, to learn, and to grow in the face of adversity. Love that. Yeah, I mean, I actually do feel a degree of warmth to that comment. You know, that I have no competition. We're here to help the club. That's nice. That's created a holistic together mentality. You know, I've just liked a post last night of Willie Issa, you know, and he was getting comments from the players. You know, the mentality monster rugby coach that we hired, that I had a bit of a giggle at when we signed. But, you know, I think this guy's created this new team mentality because he was a serial winner in rugby, obviously. A different team sport to football, I know. But yeah, there is this like cultivated togetherness and team spirit, work ethic that seemingly was absent before, when we just had the Graham Potter circus show with 1,000 players and no one knew who each other were and they were sitting in the hallways. Now there is this like relentless team ethic, togetherness, and then you got someone who, like Jackson, who clearly is very ambitious personally, from what we've learned from seeing him as a Chelsea footballer in England. He's like, yeah, it's no competition. It's about helping the team. Hearing stuff like that makes me feel good, baby. How does it make you feel? Let me know down in the comment section below. As always, keep it locked, guys, because if anything pops off, I'll be here to present it to you. And a gentle reminder, if you've reached the end of my content, why not go watch some Football Yannick content, because there's daily stuff over there as well, and you might dig it, and I'd appreciate your subscribership as I try and get 20k subs. All right, mate, enjoy the football if there is any. See you soon. Peace.